I've been with Dr. Ilya for about a year and a half. When I first came to him, I was close to being diagnosed as a diabetic. I was very overweight. I was over 200 pounds, and I'm only 5'4", so that was huge. I had chronic allergies, chronic asthma. I'd even been diagnosed with sleep apnea. So I was on a sleep apnea machine, a big breathing machine. I was on sleeping pills. I was on a chronic antidepressant for 15 years. I was seeing different doctors, and none of these doctors talked to each other. So there wasn't one person kind of managing my overall health. And actually, I was happy to find Dr. Ilya because he can manage all those symptoms I just said altogether. Like, he has knowledge in so many modalities. So since seeing him, I've actually lost a good 45 pounds at this point. Blood sugar is normal now, which is really hard to achieve without medications, according to Western medicine. The other thing, I'm not on antidepressant anymore. I'm not taking any allergy medications, and wow, thanks Dr. Ilya, I'm not taking the asthma medication. I don't have to use the sleep apnea machine. I'm not snoring at night anymore. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't find him, because I probably would have been diabetic. It is thinking outside of the box, but it's a big healing. I've had chronic knee issues where I could barely walk up and down the stairs, chronic back injury from, I used to play volleyball way back when, and now since I've been seeing him, I haven't had back pain for the first time in 30 years.
I feel really good. I have a lot of energy. The pain is gone. The suffering, the tiredness, all of that is gone. So thank you, Dr. Ilya.
My son has psoriasis, like really bad, severe plaque psoriasis, and he's been suffering with it for over 4 years. He's been going to UCSF for the past 3 years, and he's exhausted over 4 medications, and nothing has helped. He's back to being worse off than he was before he started all the medications. He's been seeing Dr. Ilya for almost 2 months. His psoriasis is clearing and not growing back. If we did not come to see Dr. Ilya, I don't know where my son would be, because we kind of lost hope. So Dr. Ilya has really given us a lot of hope. It's been tough. It's been a long road for him. It's been 4 years. So having to see Dr. Ilya after 2 months and seeing such a dramatic result is just incredible. And then I brought my youngest son because he has asthma, and after the first visit he was off all of his medications.
Just made my coughing stop instantly. Literally instantly.
First visit?
Yeah, first visit.
I was diagnosed with Graves' disease. I had been through some severe emotional challenges with anxiety, heart palpitations that would come so many times during the day. I was freezing cold or I was burning hot. I couldn't sleep at night. I was having panic attacks. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Before I came to see Dr. Ilya, I was seeing my Western doctor, and they said, well, you just have to be on methimazole. Which was so harsh. I was throwing up and I was nauseous. I was prescribed propranolol, which is a beta blocker to quiet down my nervous system. Unfortunately, that also had severe side effects because it messed with my mind, my mental health. Some of those side effects included suicidal thoughts. I was also prescribed progesterone to level out my hormones, which actually caused my body to react even more adversely. I was actually seriously considering going on disability. So all of those things were happening when I came to see Dr. Ilya. He was able to assess everything that was happening on a deeper level with my body. So now here we are a year later, I can go to work, I can function, I can have a meeting and not run out of the room like freaking out. Everything is so much better. And it's all because of Dr. Ilya.
I was in a lot of pain, discomfort. Emotionally, I had a lot of issues going on inside that I couldn't tap into. I had real digestive problems. I had a lot of trouble going to the toilet. I was sick a lot of the time. I had really bad skin. I had eczema on my hands that I couldn't get rid of. I'd been to see various doctors previously, and they were always giving me creams for this, that, and the other. And none of it was working. 100% sure that if I hadn't have met Dr. Ilya and if he hadn't have treated me, then I wouldn't be as happy as I am right now. If you're willing to stick with him and go along with what he suggests, then he can change how you're living, and life can be wonderful.
I'm 44 years old, and I started getting migraines probably about 8 or 9 years old. Blame it on the weather, it's weather change or whatever, and I would just call it a head cold. As I got older, I got to the point where I would have an average of 15 to 20 headaches a month. It was getting really bad, that were so bad that I had to throw up and I couldn't work the entire day. It got so bad to where I actually knew what days to take off near the end of the month when this was going to happen. Pretty sad. Long story short, I have a show called Edge on Regenerative Medicine Show, where we have the best of the best doctors on there, and Dr. Ilya was one of them. And I live in Vancouver, Washington, and he lives out in California. I actually flew out there to see him. I spent 4 hours with this doctor. 4 hours. I've never spent more than 20 minutes with a doctor. This doctor actually cared. That 4 hours has changed my life. So I just want to tell you, if you have any doubts, just throw them out the door. It's been over 35 days since I've had a headache. Not even a migraine. My life has changed. Thank you so much, Dr. Ilya. I just want to say you are a blessing.
Living in Central Texas, I suffered from massive chronic allergies. We're the allergy capital of the world. And I had nothing but problems, congestion every day. I was taking everything you can imagine under the sun. I even had surgery completed on my sinus cavities, and still nothing was helping me. So after I met Dr. Ilya and tried out the Skolnikoff method, my allergy symptoms slowly started to relieve themselves. No longer stuck on decongestants and taking allergy medications every single day. I can breathe good. I used to have chronic wheezing. They were giving me prednisone and other inhalers to try to curb that. I didn't want to be on that medicine, but it was the only thing that was helping until I went through the process. But by making small changes and going more the natural route that you recommended, it's made a big difference, and I feel a lot better. And so I'm really glad about that. And speaking of my daughter, after I had those great results, my daughter started having some issues with breathing, kind of like a congestion, wheezing, nothing worked whatsoever. And so we went through the Skolnikoff method with her, and she was 100% back to normal in about the 4th week, which blew our minds. Even the doctors are like, wow, I mean, so what'd you guys do differently? I didn't even want to get into the whole story with the traditional doctors, but long story short on this, it worked for me, and it also worked for her. And she was 6 months old when we started the process. One of the best parts about going through the Skolnikoff method is that we live in Austin, Texas, and he's over there in the Bay Area in California. What was nice, we did everything via video conference. We did a FaceTime, we did a Zoom call, and lots of telephone calls, and it worked.